Moin moin. Hi everyone. Thanks for having me here in this great city of Hamburg. I am Claude Nahon. I'm president of Mood International. And I will explain you in a few minutes what we are doing for retail and brands. However, I want to explain you in a few words what is Mood Media. And for that, I will not tell you what my entire life is, but I will just give you a personal story, which happens to me, which is very funny. You know, you maybe heard from my accent, I'm French, in a French school. When it's the beginning of the year, the kids are asked to fill a form, and we ask the kids, okay, what's your parents' occupation? And a few years ago, when I started at Mood, then it was the new year for school. And just after the first day, the director of the school went to see my wife and say, Mrs. Now, everything is all right at home? And she was quite shocked. She said, yeah, of course. Everything is all right with your husband. She was even more shocked. Yes, everything is all right with your husband's job. I said, yeah, come on. Why are you asking me that? It's because my son, Ethan, to the question, what's your dad's occupation? He replied, my dad is playing music in a store. Then I had a director who had the impression that I was having my guitar playing in the store. No, it was not this, but it was almost this. Then Mood Media, what's next for Mood Media? Who we are? We are the worldwide leader for store atmosphere enhancement. We are creating atmosphere which are fitting the brand's DNA, the brand value, and all of that in order to provide consumers a new way of shopping. Then, what's next? This is the question. What's next for Mood? How will we make Mood is in the innovation business? We are innovating from 80 days now, and we will continue to innovate by providing new devices, new marketing elements in stores. How will we live? We are 80 years old, but we are still 20 at heart. We are providing the best of music, the best beats, the best example in new technologies. How we will work? By design, simply using our senses. Music, scent, digital signage, and mobile phone now. How we will move? We have a great outreach. We are covering 60 countries and currently developing as well China and Russia. How we will play? We like to say that we are the largest radio station of the world. Every day, across 600,000 stores, we are broadcasting 180 million tracks of music, reaching 150 million people. And how will we shop? That's why we will see now. Then, today and the next couple of minutes, what we will talk about is first, let's speak about retail. How it looks like today's retail. Of course, who are the consumers? And what are the 3 golden rules to engage with them? First, we need to value consumer time. We need to deliver him added value, and at least we engage him through experience. And at the end, we will see how all of this can be applied. When we think about retail today, we all have different images in mind. I don't know how many people we are here. As we have a camera, we'll say that we are 1,000 people, so it makes it very important, the speech of today. But every people here in this room has a different opinion of what's retail about. It could be online retail, it could be offline retail, of course. The 2 models have both advantages. Online shops, like Zalando, for instance, were able to double their revenue year after year. However, we can still see that there is a massive investment from the retailer on their offline shops and their physical shops. Traditional stores like H&M, for instance, have massively increased their sales after they went online. But we can see as well that we have a swap. And pure players like Google are going offline. In 5 years' time, you will never buy paper clips queuing in a store. However, yesterday was the release of the iPhone 6s. We can still see queues like this, people queuing in the shops. Because both offline and online have undeniable advantages. Then what are these advantages of the both worlds? Of course, internet allows us to save time and to do everything we want from home. However, we still want to experience what we are buying. We can have access to a great range of products. However, we still want to be unique. We want a bespoke store for a bespoke products, for a bespoke people. We can compare everywhere. We have an example with Skyscanner, for instance. We can compare every kind of services and products. And that sometimes gives us strange results. A few years ago, retailers were very much afraid about a trend called showrooming. People researching offline, going in the showrooms and buying online. Now, we can see that this trend has a counterpart called ROPO. Research online and purchasing offline, then basically in the stores. This is a new addition. Then we spoke about the retailers. Let's speak about the consumers. Who are there? It's very simple. Today, consumers are spoiled child. They want everything the way they want it and without waiting. Everything, every kind of special product now. It's very interesting that speaking about having everything is even something we can see in the products. All kind of product can be found online. All kind of informations merging online and offline, such as Appen. All kind of services. We have an example with Go Butler. Just ask any question, ask for any service. You will get it right away. Few years ago in the media industry, we used to speak about a word called Atawad. Atawad was meaning, at that time, anytime, anywhere, any device. On the retail world, we can say that it is anything, anywhere, any day. It's having everything and how we want it. Now, the way we want it, we still want to be unique. Again, the bespoke experience is very important. And how, in that case, to mix best of the both worlds, online and offline. You can find products such as Coca-Cola or here these Adidas shoes, totally bespoke for you. You can have just information the way you want it, customized information. And now customized service is not augmented reality, it's augmented consumer today. And of course, our spoiled child, the spoiled child that we all are, we want to have it quick, very quick. And that is a new way of doing things. For instance, you can pay with your watch or with your iPhone now. With Amazon, you will get products even faster than if you go to the shop, to the next door shop. You will get information, for instance, here in at Brussels airport, directly through iBeacon device, only simply by entering the airport, or get a taxi very quickly. But as usual, we have a lot of stuff, but as usual, spoiled child wants to have it, but want to have more of this. And they want to have more of this because 64% of them says that they are shopping on a favorite retailer because of the way their retailer is engaging with them, because the way the shops are engaging with them. Retailers are now to talk to both brains and hearts. That's what I will say, champions are doing. And the champions are click and mortar shops, basically. We have our 3 golden rules. And the solution is to being pragmatic and emotional together. And the 3 golden rules are value consumer times, deliver added values, and engage through experience. Let's speak about consumer time. It's very simple here as well. Wasting time is over. You feel it or you kill it. Either you spend less time or you get better usage of your time. For instance, filling the time, we have a great trend of gamification. We can see that we can play when queuing. We can shop in a tube station. Or we can kill the time. Kill the time is ordering, for instance, in a fitting room, is paying to the gas station as we can do with Shell in the UK, or all the click and collect habits that we can see. The second golden rule is deliver added value. We can give the consumer more than they expect. At Mood, we have great experience in this as well. We've launched, as you've understood, music is our DNA for 80 years, but we've launched added value to this music. For instance, being able to provide free Wi-Fi through social platforms such as Facebook in the shops. We just closed a few months ago an exclusive worldwide partnership with Shazam, and together Mood Media and Shazam, we've created together Shazam Instore, when simply entering a shop, Shazamming the music, and then Shazam device is able to read the Mood Media special watermark, you will have access to lots of information, retailers added value, coupons, examples, loyalty programs. This is how, by mixing both online and offline world, we can give more to the consumers. And the third rule is engaging through experience. And this will never happen online. As I said before, what we are doing at Mood is trying a revolution in the way the people are shopping. In the future, we will not shop because we just have to buy stuff. It's because it's a leisure, it's a pleasure. In order to deliver and to create another experience, we are working with 3 major senses: music, scent, and visual. What about music? Music affects us instantaneously. Let's have some example. Music can have physical and psychological effects. Let's have an example. Sorry, but it's mute. This is increasing very fast your heartbeat. This is much more slowly. This is decreasing, relaxing. And yes, music has a physical effect. But music can bring back memories right away. Again, it creates physical effect and it creates a link immediately with the brand and with the history of the brand as well. And then music can make you want to tune it. How frustrating is this that it stopped before the end? Music is a doping product. It increased by 15% the athletes' performances. We know why, and we understand why, seeing how is the physical and psychological impact of the music. And what does that mean for the brands? It can create an oasis of well-being in a city of noise. Or it wasn't it? We are in a much peaceful time with the La Durée shop. It can instantly set the right mood for your brand. Classic. And it can influence the quality of perception. Noisy. More jazzy. Better atmosphere. Let's go to an actual example of how we design music. You have two examples here. I will not say the brands, but you can, I'm sure, put some names here. On the left, you have a young high street fashion brand, and on the right, you have an expensive upmarket fashion brand. Two different targets, two different brand DNAs, two different brand values, two ways of creating music playlists. It's what our marketing team, our music specialist team and DJs are doing every day. Then, for instance, on the left brand, it's more fast-paced and energetic atmosphere, top 40 and up-tempo music. And for the brand of the right, it's more sophisticated atmosphere, more, I would say, emerging artists and electro music. This is super important because human beings are unique, brands are unique, and music can reflect this. It can reflect the brand DNA, the brand history, the values, and of course, can fit with the target audience. Let's speak about the second sense, the power of scent. We remember only 1% of what we touch. 1% of what we touch. But we remember 35% of what we smell. This is the most powerful memorial impact. We will remember a smell, where we smell it, in what was the event, what was related to that. Scent can instantly attract attention and stimulate the action. It can bring back again to lost memories and instantly make you feel good. That's why when we are working in scent in shops, we are never using, I would say, regular fragrances that you can find for great perfumers, because it will be bring to somebody and create positive or negative reactions. We are creating perfumes, we are creating fragrances, and we are using different techniques to make, again, that the overall atmosphere is fitting to a brand. Let's go with some examples. Scent can separate areas or draw attention to different offers. It can, of course, translate your brand DNA into a sensorial signature. You all have experienced Abercrombie & Fitch powerful fragrance. And of course, it will make customers feel at ease. The third sense now I want to discuss about is visual. Visual can as well bring back to memories, generate strong emotions, and disturb us or make us feel good. We have an example for brands as well. Digital signage, again, it can catch customers where they are most perceptive. It's the right impact at the right time. It can be an additional element to reduce the perceived waiting times and can immerse us into another world. For you, some of you went to Hollister shop in London. How the shop incredible is. It's the only place on earth where you are happy to buy a bathing suit when it's 0 Celsius outside and snowing in December, because you are immersed in a proper, great atmosphere through all the visuals, the screens, the sound. Now, using technology is really important. We, human beings, we have created other senses as well. And we are developing these senses. We have here great examples of what we can do with Oculus Rift, what Dior has done here, what Coca-Cola and Nescafé are doing by bringing mobile optimized challenges and engagement experience to shoppers in supermarkets. They have done that in Beijing and Singapore. The Porsche Sound Lab is a great experience as well. All these technologies are added value to the in-store experience. In no means it will replace the human people. And even in contrary, having lots of digital devices in a shop allow us to bring back the store associates, the sellers, right in the middle of the map, and to put them in a situation where these people are giving advice and more in-depth advice to your clients. At Mood, we love to say that the more we digitalize a shop, the more we humanize it. Then, what's experience by design at a glance? The connected store is at the heart of the holistic brand experience. It connects the online world, the offline world, through valuing customers' time, delivering added value, and engaging through experience. The connected store is a real bridge between our two retail worlds, online and offline. Some brands already got it. Let's have an example with Nespresso, for instance. Nespresso has decided to work on the waiting times. It killed the waiting times by click and collect, by managing customers with waiting numbers for different objectives. And Nespresso as well filled the waiting times that couldn't be avoided by free coffee tasting, for instance, or by using interactive tables in their different shops. We've discussed, I mentioned previously as well, Hollister, how this brand is able to plunge us into their world and into their brand. So after we heard what is the future of retailer, the future for retailer is having a holistic experience by design. What the future of Mood is working by their side, and how in perfect tune. I thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to answer some of your questions. Thank you very much. Dankeschön.
Thank you very much. And we do have time for questions. We have about 15 minutes left over for a joint Q&A. I will come around with a microphone if you give me a sign of hands. Don't be shy. We've had a very... we've had a lot of listening now, and this is a good opportunity for a little bit of interaction. We had a similar situation here this morning after the first opening panel, which was very fascinating, but I think everybody was so in listening mode that we didn't really get into chatting mode. But I'm going to give it a couple of more minutes. Maybe people are just being shy. I've seen people in the front row better than in the last row. If you're in the back and have some things you'd like to share, please come up. Okay, I see you. Maybe you can introduce yourself very briefly. Thank you.
My name is Roman. I'm from Vienna. I'm from a media agency, and I'm wondering if you link and track your efforts directly to sales from the shops, or do you undergo studies to see when you put on this and that music if sales go up?
Yeah, we can do. The answer is 3 different ways. First, we have managed a study last year together with a French public rights organization called SACEM. It was on the French market. Then we are extending this study to other markets in Europe, including the UK, Germany, and the Netherlands this year, about the influence of music on sales. Yes, music has an influence on sales, and we can say that music increase automatically between 11 and 15% the level of sales in a shop. It was so obvious that during the research, some of the panelists, some of the stores didn't want even to stop the music for one day. That's the first way. It's not a direct impact, but it's of course an indirect impact, because a great music, adapted playlist, again, to the shop, to the value, to the brand, etc., makes that the people are feeling good and in the appropriate environment and are staying longer. Secondly, you have, I would say, natural killer in a shop. Silence is a killing. And you can experience that yourself. When you're going in a shop, there is no music. It's absolutely silence. It's very, very difficult. And then after that, we can track after as well what kind of music has been displayed. But in that case, we are doing that together with the retailer. We have not an automatic tracking of that, but together with some retailers, we can know exactly what kind of music has been played, and of course, match with this the financial, the revenues information, and see if we had an impact on the revenues. But it's a bespoke, I would say, study for that.
One more question. You could also perhaps advise online shops. You could play music dependent on what I look up in online shops. So.
Yes, of course, and we are doing that for some of our clients. Is bringing their music on their shops and on their online website. But again, music is not only something that we like to hear. It has an influence. Then it has a special influence on the shop. We see that on the heartbeat, etc. Then, of course, it will have, for instance, an influence on the footfall, on the way we are, on the speed we are shopping. Then you cannot copy-paste what you are doing offline and putting that online. It will be an adapted playlist for the online shop.
I think that's a very interesting point. Doesn't that make things increasingly difficult? Because if you are in your own home environment doing online shopping, which of course is much the trend in the future for many industries, you usually have your own soundscape to go by. different to if you were in an exterior environment and an exterior shop where you can create the soundscape and sort of immerse yourself in it. Is that not a very sort of delicate area, let's say, because people would prefer to create that own personal environment, that own soundscape? And I remember, like, any website that I access that has music, I immediately hit the mute button because it's rarely a very pleasant experience.
You just said you have a mute button on a website, but you never go in a shop and switch off the music when you enter.
Exactly.
Then basically, our job is to create playlists which fit the brands, which the brand's DNA, values, and as well the target group. But there is something that we can't do is knowing what's home. That's why we systematically put the mute button, because some of the people will be very happy to have the music which will be played on the internet website, and some of them will maybe want to stop it.
Right. I would also be interested in your take on that. Like, how is that seen sort of in development of also brand images? If I sort of have this lack of control over this, like I'm just, again, watching TV adverts or something, there's a different way that you can, I think, communicate sort of the soundscape associated to a brand than if you're working in the digital world.
My take on it? Yeah. So I think because in the online world, you can go from one area, one world, to the next world very quickly. And depending on how quickly that you do that, you're not prepared for anything else than just a visual. And that's why you hit the mute button, because you weren't expecting it. So this is, first of all, different to the offline world, where you walk into something and just the physical act of going there prepares you, primes you to expect music. Or maybe not that music that you eventually hear, but it's a more common phenomenon. Well, with websites, it's different. On the other hand, there is a behavior online as well, where you go browsing or shopping and try to emerge in something. For example, car retailers. People can spend an awful lot of time on a car retailing website because they're looking through different models, configurators, and they want to get a feel for the brand as well. So if you're staying there for a long time to see whether you like the car, that's your intention that you went there in the first place, but also how that brand feels, then audio can be a helpful part of it, or not an unwanted part of it. But of course, it's a matter of how you prepare for that, and whether people have anything else going on there at the same time.
I could add a lot of more questions on this topic. I find it fascinating, but I'm looking to the room. I don't want to hog the Q&A time. If there are more questions going around. Okay, we're hogging this Q&A. It's between the two of us. Yeah.
Sorry, one last question. What about personalization, online and offline? For example, if you have beacons in the shop, and you see now this is 10 customers, they are quite hippies or quite rockers, then you would put on different music and personalize the experience for the actual audience in the shop?
I'm not sure then beacons in the shop will help you to interact with the mobile phone. Then it will not interact with the overall music, because the overall music of a shop is designed, we say, to get along with the majority of the people going in that shop. The usage of beacons, or what I've explained a few minutes ago on the watermarking system, is in fact to explain that music is now a Trojan horse and allows you to push data, to collect data in the same time that we are broadcasting music. Pushing data and collecting data through a watermarking system and reading it through Shazam, for instance, or, yes, putting at some place of a shop beacons and then interacting with the consumers where they are. Then you can put beacons, for instance, if it's a fashion brand, you can put beacons in the male area, in the female area, for the kids area, and you can, at that time, push different content for the different people working in that area. But it will have no effect, I would say, on the music itself.
Sorry, just to add to that thought. So I guess, reacting very quickly on different people coming into the store is a tricky thing, because the store is shared, and you have many different people. So there's probably only a very tiny subset of songs that everyone would like and appreciate. It might be very difficult to find that out. But personalization is an interesting issue, and it could be done online, for example. And what we know from a lot of psychological studies on, for example, the effects of music on pain perception or on physiological arousal, for example, in hospital settings, when you play music at the dentist or before an important surgery, this is something where music is extremely helpful to reduce stress, physiological arousal, etc. And in almost all cases, it works best if people bring their own music. So if they're familiar, if they personalize the playlist they would like to hear during their surgery. And so that principle, I think, is valid, but it might be tricky to realize it in a sensible way in all retail or consumer situations.
That would have been my next question. So you just touched on, what about the use of these ideas in non-commercial environments and experimentation with also the use in public environments? I'm sure we're all familiar with sort of train stations in Scandinavian countries playing classical music, and other forms of more intrusive, let's say, public acoustics to avoid people hanging out in places you don't want them to hang out, etc. Is there any part of your research or work that you could perhaps share on either of you on this topic?
There is research on that, and it seems to work. So it's, the Hauptbahnhof in Hamburg was a very famous example where over, I think, the period of 5 or 10 years, they played classical music to get the junkies out. And it wasn't a high level of volume, or it wasn't unpleasant music. So it was just the opposite music examples that you had there, people being expelled by classical music. I don't think in Hamburg there's been ever a systematic study of that, but there has been I think in Glasgow and as well in Scandinavia. Mm-hmm. And it works by implicit affiliations with that music or without that music. So even though the junkie can't stand the classical music, there's no physical reaction to it, it will filter down into the subconscious. This is not my space. I'm not affiliating with this space because it's not my music. So this is how that effect works. And music can be very effective in many public settings. So I think it's an underused resource in that respect. And one could be a lot clever about it. So, just waiting rooms everywhere. If you wait to get your passport renewed and you sit there for 3 hours, or the hospital to reduce anxiety, a lot more could be done. But I don't think that the public policy makers think of music as a means to make their services more comfortable or accessible. But maybe it's just a matter of you going into that direction, not only selling to commercial organizations, but your services to public organizations as well.
And just one word to add is, of course, the example of junkies expelled by the classical music is very interesting, because, of course, music can create this kind of reaction, but we can see as well in a lot of train stations how piano have been installed in order to allow people to play music, because this is creating a great phenomenon of putting everyone in the same side, and of course having a better atmosphere for everyone. Then, yes, even the same music, classical music, in that instance, can have two opposite effects and results.
Fascinating. I could go on forever, but I think we've actually run out of time now. So one more question? Let me look very quickly. Okay, one more question. We actually do have 2 minutes left. There you go. Can you introduce yourself quickly?
Just quickly. My name is Wolf. I work in music technology. And you mentioned earlier personalization or customization in the sense of playlists, selection of music. How about the music itself being customized? Is that something that you looked into? So not like a selection that is personalized, but more like a flow in the music that is probably customized for the use. Does it make sense?
Can you specify what you mean exactly?
Like if you think in gaming, there's a storyline and there's music running, but you can't know from the beginning how that story will work out. So the user interacts with the game, the story is developing, and the music, in best case, is following. So I think in your examples, this is something that's thinkable too. And I wondered whether that's something that you
apart from the scary aspects of like who reads that data and computes it into music, but the same could be for browsing. Like, yes.
Yeah, personalization of the music, as you just explained, can happen in the online world. It will not happen in the offline, and especially in the retail environment. Again, because in that case, people came with a specific ID, did a first step to enter the shop, and the target group is almost the same, which is very interesting. Speaking about the playlist, again, the playlist is done very specifically because for one shop, let's speak about, for instance, from H&M, for instance, you don't have the same people a Monday morning at 11 a.m. and a Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Two different kind of people, two kind of music. The tempo is not the same. Then, of course, in that respect, the only way to personalize the flow, the beat, and to stick to that is only to go on the online world where we almost know each individual and then can link that to the flow, the kind of music, the genre of music, the tempo, etc.
Just to add to that division, I think it's possible, and I'm not sure whether it's desirable, but if you think maybe 5 years ahead, the Internet of Things is taking over. So you're waking up in the morning, and then your whatever sensors you have in the house, they will start to select music or even produce music that gets you up to speed because you're a little late and you need to be in the car in 15 minutes. And so the beat is just a bit faster than it would normally be, but at the same time you want to feel comfortable and secure because you've got something important coming up and your diary knows that. So it puts something upbeat but positive on it. So that's a vision for the future. I'm not sure that exists yet. I've been involved in a slightly different project that was personalized music for a high-end restaurant where each dish goes with a certain type of music that fits to it, and that enhances the saltiness of the dish or reduces the sourness of the wine. And those things actually work. They take quite careful crafting, and you have to work together with the chef. But maybe the Internet of Things will bring us the music personalizations throughout the day.
Wow, that's just opening up so many ideas for future possibilities. I see myself walking through an art gallery, and with every different picture I look at, I have a different musical background. And yeah, it could go on, like I said, forever. Absolutely fascinating. Let's have a really big applause for both Daniel and Claude. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, short break coming up, and we're going to be back here. We've got 2 more sessions today left at this wonderful stage here at Schmidtchen. And the next one coming up will be hosted by Andrew Feldhaus, who is a composer, and he'll be interviewing Dietrich Büggemann on his new release called Heil, and they'll be discussing the thin line between pop and politics. So I hope to see you back here in 15 minutes for the next session.